had a customer come to us from the aerospace industry. They're in developmental for electric and hybrid motors, and this was working on commercial airplanes. So part of the development process was to work with a material that was high dollar, high tension, and the fact that it had a lot of stresses in it, and unique in a lot of different ways. Basically, they're blazing some new trails in processing. And they came to us and they said, we've got a thin material, we've got a thin back iron part, and we can show you some of the unique characteristics that made it really thin back iron, very flexible, and a material that's 4 thousandths to 6 thousandths thick. So you're cutting something that's the thickness of foil is very expensive. You don't want to waste any of it, but every time that you remove a stress, it essentially adds a stress to another portion, and the part moves all over the place. So part of the challenge was not cutting the geometry, because anybody can cut geometry, and we get that correct, but the challenge was when you release it from the contiguous material and it starts to move because of the stresses, and then subsequent annealing, processing, and there was a coating process, would all introduce stress and cause the material to move. So what we had to come up with was a special program and something a little out of the box in processing for that particular material, unique to that particular part, also unique to that particular thickness. So all of those things came into play, and our experience over 35 years of laser cutting and the experience that we've got in annealing and the 2 coating lines that we run all came to bear on this part, and we successfully produced tens of thousands of parts for this customer so that they could do their development. And that's something that it was all art form. It was a little bit of science, a lot of science because of the nature of our business, but it was a lot of art form. It was a lot of learning as you go. It was a lot of creative thinking on the part of our engineering and production team. So a shout out to those guys. They really did the work. I worked with the customer on the basics, what they wanted to get, what material they wanted to get it out of, and then we kind of throw it in their hands and they take it and run with it. This is a fixture that we use to check the geometry of this part. And the unique things about the part is there's a very small bridge there for back iron. The part is small in the first place, so where your back iron gets thinner, it creates a weak point. The thinness of and the quantity of the teeth creates a weak point. So when you're doing this, and this was a cobalt material, the cobalt material wants to compress in on itself, and it doesn't want to stay that shape. So our challenge was keep this part flat, anneal it, and coat it in a very thin, very expensive material. So we were able to do it. We were able to prove it physically on each part by using a physical fixture. But the truth was, or the proof, I should say, is in the pudding, so to speak. And they put it together in their fixturing and successfully stacked these and made a prototype motor out of it. So that's what we do. Shipping is a unique challenge with thin materials and thin parts, and a part with so much geometry that it has open spaces that want to collapse upon themselves. So our shipping department creates unique one-off solutions for every part that we make. If we're going to make a good part, it's no good to you unless we can get it there in that state. So it's important to put these parts in jewelry boxes. Basically, you pay a lot of money for them. They're important to operation, and we want them to arrive to you in the same condition that they were cut and checked here in the quality department. So our shipping department is above all, in my opinion. They've done some really creative things, but some very robust packaging. They managed to ship the smallest, the thinnest, the most flexible, and some of the largest, heaviest, again, most flexible parts, and get them all to our customers in one piece, in assemblies, or as loose laminations over and over and over again. that's the kind of thing we do here. If that's the kind of thing you do, please reach out to us, let us know. If we don't have an answer, we'll find you an answer, but we're always happy to look at a part in a program and give you our best advice.